All right, just let me know if you can hear me. Am I audible?
Okay, finally ready.
Awesome. Yep, let's go.
Thank you.
All right.
The floor is
Let's,
all yours.
thanks,
Welcome.
Fatim. All right. Welcome, everyone, to Community Days Merida 2023, brought to you by Microsoft Cloud Events. My name is Mohamed Derhalli, and in today's session, we're going to be going through Microsoft Viva Inside Out. So let's get started. First of all, thanks to all our sponsors. As you know, like these events wouldn't be possible at all without sponsors. So, as an event organizer myself, sometimes it's super hard without participating from community members and sponsors in helping these events. So please go check out their services and support them as much as you can. Also check out other related communities. So in the space, here's a list of everything that you would need. So if you want to take a screenshot of that or you want to get back to it from the recording, please do. All right, a little bit about myself. I'm a Microsoft MVP in the Office apps and services area. First time I got awarded was in 2015. Also Microsoft certified trainer and Scrum Master as well. I got my master's degree from the University of Hertfordshire in software engineering, and I love anything that's related to Microsoft Cloud. Recently, like in the Copilot AI space as well. If you want to reach out, best place would be my LinkedIn. I don't tweet that much, if not at all. But if you're interested as well, here's my X or Twitter handle. So enough introduction. So in today's session, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start with couple slides, but then we're just gonna take it through demos because I don't think like too many slides are gonna be beneficial when you try to explain something. So just couple slides, then we're gonna get into demos, and see how you can get started with Microsoft Viva. So when we're talking about Viva, what is Microsoft Viva in the first place? So back in the pandemic, Microsoft decided um, to invent or reuse some of its services as well as invent new services under one umbrella. This umbrella is called Viva, and it includes services that have been there already, and Microsoft they started inventing new services at the same time. So, for example, Microsoft they took Teams and SharePoint and invented an application in Microsoft Teams for called it Viva Connections. They introduced Viva Engage, which is based on Yammer. They introduce other services here and there as well, using either existing services or creating new ones. So when you hear the Microsoft like the term Viva, it's not something tangible. It's not like one application. It's different applications. Some of them are Teams applications. Some of them are just like services that run in the background, like Viva Topics. We're going to see how it works. Some of them are just like an application that you access through the browser, like Viva Amplify, for example. We're going to check how it looks like as well. So Viva is like bunch of modules, bunch of services that can be used in different ways through applications or in the backend through some configurations that you can use together. Some of them are free, some of them are free, but then you can add like you can buy another license to get like more pro features on top of it, right? So when we talk about Viva, let's just go here and let's see what we have as part of Microsoft Viva. Now, a disclaimer, there is also on top of these Viva components or Viva modules, there's also like Viva sales, but Microsoft doesn't consider it as part of the actual Viva. So I'll explain what I mean in a moment. But let's just examine what we have here. So what we have here is the bunch of applications that together fall under the Microsoft Viva umbrella that we have. First one is, let's start with Viva Connections. So with Viva Connections, Microsoft, they wanted employees rather than having to go to SharePoint each time to check news, to go and go to resources, any links that you have useful in the environment. They wanted a way that while you're chatting to your manager, while you're having meetings, while you're doing all the work that you do on a daily basis, they wanted to have a way for you to check the internet right from within Microsoft Teams. Or, for example, for frontline workers, a frontline worker is someone always on the field, always on the go. They wanted a way that I want to check the latest news in my environment. I'm just chatting with my managers. I'm chatting with my colleagues. I'm holding all of these meetings. I'm checking my calendar all from within Microsoft Teams. I don't want to go and open the browser or open SharePoint application on my phone just to check the news or get to a specific document or a resource that I'm interested in. So with Viva Connections, it's an application that you can add from within Microsoft Teams that would give you this access to your intranet without leaving the context of Microsoft Teams itself, right? So that is with Viva Connections, and we're going to check this out. First, when Microsoft they introduced Viva Connections, it was completely free to use because it's based on SharePoint and Teams. If you have E3, E5 license, you're going to be good to go. However, recently Microsoft they added more features, and I'm going to explain how you can use these features. But Microsoft they added like more options, and in order to get these options in Microsoft Viva Connections, then you would need to buy an extra license for it. Next, we have Viva Engage. With Viva Engage, it's the new flavor of Yammer. So basically, it's the old communities application in Microsoft Teams. Now it's Viva Engage. But Microsoft, they added like the leadership corner, the like my own stories to Viva Engage, along with other features as well that are way more upgraded than my Yammer itself. And then we have Viva Insights. So you might have seen Viva Insights in few places here and there. For example, a Microsoft Teams application that you can access, for example, like focus time, or it's going to ask you, how are you feeling today? Or it's going to ask you, hey, like, do you want to watch like relaxing videos? Or, for example, you might have seen it in Outlook itself, like in Outlook. For example, if you're composing a message to someone, it might ask you, hey, like this person is outside of working hours, or a summary of or what you have been like today's meetings, for example, or book focus time in Microsoft Teams. So all of these features in Viva Insights, they're targeted towards the well-being of the employee. So it's a way for you to act on all of these parameters, but then as managers and as C-level executives, they would be able to see their employees. If they're spending so much time after working hours, they would be able to see all of these matrices and all of these like charts in the backend that would tell them how their departments are doing or how the organization is doing in general. So they can tweak and they can monitor that. Then we have Viva Amplify. So Viva Amplify is a new, very new service in Microsoft Viva. And the purpose of it is to have campaigns. So let's say that I'll give you an example. And this is really useful for companies that have a change leadership or adoption and change management. Let's say that you're going to roll out a new service in your organization and you want to tell your end users about this service. How would you do it? Like you will need to send emails, you might need to send Teams messages, you might need to create SharePoint pages. So you might need like to work across all of these services to create content in different places just to tell users, hey, like first communication, we're going to introduce Copilot. Then 1 month later, you might want to send the second communication. Hey, we introduced Copilot. Now we're going to provide you with training. So all of these communications you might want to do across different channels in Microsoft Teams, in Outlook, in Viva Engage, for example, as a SharePoint page somewhere. So Viva Amplify lets you author this communication in one place and then push it across SharePoint, Teams, as an Outlook message, and soon it's going to be available as a post in Viva Engage community as well. So you just have one place to author your communication. For example, as an example, Copilot introduction, and then send it as a Teams message to multiple teams, send it in an email, create SharePoint pages in different sites, all from one single location. So it's really a handy tool. Now, Pulse is a way to collect feedback from your team. So you can it depends on Microsoft Forms in the backend, but it's a way that you can author forms and then provide it for your team to fill out these surveys. And you're going to see that how Pulse and Glint, they're similar to each other, that they enable you to have surveys, but let's just speak about Glint here. So with Glint, you'll be able to have these surveys, but organization level. So consider Pulse as if you want to have these surveys just for your team, for a business unit, for a small number of users. So you can use Pulse in that way. But with Viva Glint is the organization in general. You want to make a decision across the whole firm. So you can use Viva Glint in that manner in order to come up with these surveys, right? Now, with Viva Learning is a way to have a hub in Microsoft Teams, and this is a this is a Teams application. So you can have one hub that would connect to plural sites, Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, um, different sources of content. Even you can have your own learning content in SharePoint itself. So you can store your videos in SharePoint, and then you can have one application and then say, okay, I'm interested in learning C Sharp. It will show you all content for C Sharp across all of these platforms. So I don't need to go to plural site, search for C Sharp, and then start looking at the content, and then go to Udemy if I have access to Udemy and do the same thing, etc., etc. Right? So we can have one hub, which is the Viva Learning, in order to access all of these different learning content. Now with Viva Goals, it's an objective um, an objective setting platform. So for example, you can say, I want on the organization level what we want to do across, like in the next year. We're going to have these three objectives. So as a management, we align ourselves that we want to go and focus on these objectives. Now, the department owners or like the department leads, they would see these objectives and they're going to set objectives for them. And then they can set, how are we going to do that? Like, how are we going to meet these objectives? What projects do we need to work on in order to fulfill these objectives? What key results? How can we measure that we fulfilled this objective or not? So you can have these objectives on the organization level. Then you can have key results and projects that you would do, and something that you can measure your success on the organization level, on the department level, and on a personal level. So myself, as an architect, for example, working in this company, what do I need to do in order to fulfill the objectives for my department? And then the department would have objectives. When filled, it will help meeting the objectives of the organization itself, rather than having everything scattered across the place, organizations or like departments, everyone working towards a different goal. So it's just a goal setting tool within the organization itself. And it's used to be by another organization. I forgot the name of that organization. It's been a while since but it was owned by another company. They acquired it, and then they integrated it as part of Microsoft Viva itself, similar to Glint, how Microsoft went with it. Finally, we have Viva Topics, and Viva Topics is not an actual application in Teams that you deal with. You can like deal with it in Teams, but it's an AI. So it's an AI running in the backend. And I've watched one of the Microsoft sessions at some point, and they had a really good example of explaining what Viva Topics is, which I really liked. So what they mention is that consider Viva topics as an intern in your organization. So I'll give you an example. So let's say that you have in your organization, you have tons of content. You have thousands of documents, thousands of sites. And as an employee, I want to learn about cyclotron, for example. How would I learn about cyclotron? I can go and ask my colleagues, go and ask my manager, or I can go to SharePoint search for cyclotron and go through thousands of documents in order to learn about cyclotron. Now, what if you hire an intern in your organization and ask this intern, listen, go through all the documents in the environment and sites and try to get potential topics within these documents and sites. Any noun that you can think of as a potential topic, go create a page in SharePoint for it. So for example, if you find the term cyclotron mentioned in many documents, go and create a page called cyclotron and then fill a description about cyclotron. Just add it in there and then add suggested people. See these documents, who work on these documents, who edited these documents, etc. Have them as people that you can ask more about cyclotron. Then add suggested documents that you went through. Then maybe if cyclotron is related to other terms in the environment, have it there as well. So imagine this intern working 24/7, just going reading through the content in your environment, creating pages in SharePoint. This is in fact what Viva Topics does for you. It goes through all the content that you have in the environment. It's gonna go and see, okay, I see that cyclotron is actually mentioned many times. I'm gonna go and create a SharePoint page for it. I'm gonna have a description that I can make by my understanding of all of these documents. I'm going to have suggested people. Here are the documents that you can read more about cyclotron. So if I search for cyclotron now, I don't need to go through thousands of documents in my environment. I can just see a card at the beginning with search results that would take me to that summary page, which is going to make it so easy for users rather than having to go through thousands of documents. I just have one place in order to read about cyclotron. So we're gonna check like some of these Viva modules in this session. All right. So let me. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is enough slides. I'm gonna go right into a demo. So let's first go to um, Viva Connections. Let's see what Viva Connections actually is. So what I'm gonna do is go to Teams and show you. So here is Viva Connections available for me, right? It's a Teams application. So as you can see, it's right here. You can always customize the options that you see right here on the left-hand side. You can always play with the order. All you need to do is set a team setup policy in the back end. So we always advise that you have the the order of Viva connections to be the first app right here. And you would need a Teams admin in order to do all of this configuration. So basically, what Microsoft introduced lately in Viva Connections is this home experience. So before, like let's say 1 year ago, when you wanted to roll out Viva Connections in your environment, you needed to have a home site. You needed to have an intranet already set in place in order to view it in Microsoft Teams. But companies didn't invest in creating their own intranet. They didn't hire another company. They didn't have someone internally that's actually knowledgeable enough in order to create that homepage in SharePoint. So what Microsoft said is, okay, don't worry about it. We're just going to roll out this basic page for all companies in order to get started with Viva Connections. And this is what you see right here, the home experience for Viva Connections. This is what's provided by default by Microsoft. In case you don't have a home site, you can just use this one and you have Viva Connections up and running. So here I would have the feed anything that's posted in SharePoint, in Engage, Viva Engage, I would see the latest posts that I have access to. I would see them right here. So this is the feed that I can see. Next is going to be the Viva Connections dashboard. And these cards, they would be useful because if you try and open Viva Connections application in Microsoft Teams on your mobile device, you're not going to see this view. Um, you're not going to see your SharePoint site as you're expecting. What you're going to have is you're going to have three tabs. You're going to have a dashboard tab, you're going to have feed, you're going to have resources. You wouldn't see your intranet. As you can see right here, I have a home site and I have access to go to my home site right here. So if I click on this one, let me just mute whoever got in. All right. So as you can see right here, I got to my landing page. And this is what I was talking about. Like, what if a user, like, what if the company, they didn't have a home site in the first place? So if I click on this one again, I would go back to connections. This is the default that you would have. If you want to bypass this experience, so for example, if I want to click on Viva Connections here, I want to go to my home site right away, there is a PowerShell command that you can execute. You can set the site and then say bypass this experience. So when you click on this one, you would go to this site right away, right? So you can bypass this experience to go to your home site. Now, as you can see, right here, I have a home site, and this is going to be shared for the whole organization. If you're someone in IT, if you're someone in finance, HR, etc., all of them are going to have the same home site. And this is all for free. Everything that we see right here, like whether it's um, when it comes to having the application in Teams, going to SharePoint, all of that, everything here is for free. However, remember when I told you that Microsoft, they added one more, like few features that you would need to pay for in order to have these features. And one of these features is the ability to have multiple home sites. So a requirement that you might have noticed when you're working frequently with clients is they would have this request, and I've seen this a lot. They would tell you, I want when I go to the Viva Connections app and I'm someone in HR, I want to see the HR side. But if I'm someone in IT, I want to see the IT side. If someone in finance, I want to see the finance side, and so on and so on. But by default, we only have one home site. So what Microsoft did is they introduced the ability to have multiple home sites. So now a new update is you can have multiple home sites, each one targeted to a specific group. So let's say that I'm someone part of the HR group. When I click on the Viva Connections app right here, it will take me to the HR site. If I'm someone in IT, I click on this one, it's going to check my group, and I would go to the IT site, right? Let's see where this is done from. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you where you can do that from. So here in the SharePoint Admin Center, if you go to the settings, before, if you remember, this was called home site, but right now it's home sites. So if I click on this one previously, we were able to have a text box right here where I'm gonna click, like I'm gonna type the URL of my home site. But right now we have sites, we have multiple. So if I go here to the experiences, we can have a new experience. And as you can see, I only have one. What I can do is I can say, I want to have a new experience built from an existing portal. So if I have a new HR site, if I have an existing HR site, I can pick it here. What if I don't have an HR site, but I want, when I click on Viva Connections, I want to display something only specific to HR? I can start from this one, which is basically in Teams, it's going to show as this experience. So you can create a new experience that looks like this one, or you can create a new experience out of a new site like this. Got it? So you can have a new experience for HR. That's the default one, but for HR. right? So I can have the like HR, they can have their own links here, they can have their own dashboard cards, they can have their own everything. So you can do it only for HR. Or if you have an existing HR site, you can just point to that one. And this is basically what this does. You can have the default experience, or you can start from an existing site. So maybe I'm gonna start with just a default experience for HR, and here can just name it HR site or HR experience. I can do it like that, right? And then next, I will be able to review anything I need. Oops, sorry. Next, and then I can create this experience. Now, here's the catch. Let's just wait, close. Here's the catch. Is it the home site? No, because by default for free, you can have only one home site. See the catch? So you can create these experiences, but they're not going to be useful unless you have a license. If you have a license for Viva connections, and I'll show you what I mean by this license. So let's just go here quickly. Here there's a new license that's called Microsoft Viva Employee Communications and Communities. And this is the price for it. Note that I'm on the Canadian side. So the price for it in the US is going to be around $2 US, right? And here you can see that it's going to give you access to Viva Connections. Viva Connections, which is the like the new experiences that you have. Or if you want to save and get access to all Viva applications, you can just go with the Microsoft Viva Suite. So it's like a bundle of different Viva applications all together. So you can pick which one to go for. Once you have a license, you're going to be able to, let's go here. You're going to be able to set this one as a home site. And as you can see right here, I can set the audience. So I can say which audiences in my organization I want this experience to appear for. So then we can apply the rule, which is if I'm in IT, it will go to this experience. If I'm in HR, it will go to that experience. Then you can have a fallback experience, which is if I don't meet any of these experiences, then then it will just go to that one. So the order here is important, right? Let's say that I'm part of these two groups. Yep, I will do that one. So let's say that you're part of these two groups. It will take the first one that you meet. If you don't meet this one and meet this one, it will take this one. So you need to always have like one default experience available for everyone if the user doesn't meet any of these experiences, right? And this is one of the parts that you will need to have a license for, right? So that's for Viva connections. Now you have for the cards themselves. For the cards, as you can see right here, this is what I see in the SharePoint site itself. So basically with the cards, you design the cards once, and then you can view it on the phone, you can view it on the desktop, right? And doesn't matter like if I have the cards in one web part, two web parts, it will always have one resource to have the cards from. And this is really useful for frontline workers. Why is that? Let me just open this one in its own. So let's scroll down and look at this. Imagine that you have external systems like Workday, ServiceNow, etc. And in this case here, I have like two cards for integration with Workday. What you can do is you can actually use SPFX to have custom cards. So for example, depending on the current user that's signed in, I can go and look in the inbox items for Workday and pull these for the current user. When the user clicks on see all, they can see all the work items that they have from within Workday and have some action on that. Or for example, if I have some like it's going to show me how many hours I can book for a time off, and then I can have a form when submitted, submit back to Workday. And this is like some we had like a couple of requirements like this integration with Workday, ServiceNow for our clients, and we had to do something similar to that here. And this is really useful for frontline workers. They're on the go. They can just open their Viva Connections application, look at the dashboard, see all of these numbers without having to go to Workday, ServiceNow, and different applications. It's an actual dashboard that they would have access to as a frontline worker, right? So that's Viva Connections. Basically, it's a view of your SharePoint site, or in the case of frontline workers, a view of their dashboard, feed what's going on in the company, a view of their resources, the navigation, all across their mobile devices, right? So basically with Viva Connections. A new thing that was actually also released by Microsoft is this announcement. So once you have that license that I just showed you, whether it's part of the Viva, Microsoft Viva Suite or the community's license, you have this announcement. And basically what this announcement is, I can click on announcement, and once I submit this announcement, it will appear in the Viva Connections as a banner. So when I open Viva Connections, let's say, for example, I was here, it will show me a banner there with that announcement. And then it will disappear after a specific date that you can set right here. So for example, a new training is available, new SharePoint training is available. My message will go here, and then I can select which group I want this message to appear for. So maybe I want to have it for the design members, and maybe I don't want to publish it right now. I can schedule when to publish and when to disappear from there. And then I can have options like allow users to click on X to dismiss this message or not, right? Next, I can review, and then I can send this announcement. So users shortly, they will start seeing this announcement at the top of their Viva application. So um, for me, it doesn't appear that quickly, but eventually there it is. You will see that announcement right here, right? And because I didn't allow users to close it, the users will not be able to close it. So they will have, and they would even like on their phone, if they have Microsoft Teams on their phone, let's say that they have their phone locked or something, like they're gonna get an actual notification on their phone, like, hey, there's a new announcement. So it's really handy for frontline workers on their phone. They can actually see that there's a new notification, a new announcement that has been pushed out to them. But the same, if you want to use this feature, you will need to have that license available for you, which is the license I just showed right here, either this one or that one. Right? As you can see, it's this one, announcements available right here. All right, let's check another service. Let's go to Viva Amplify and see how we can start a new campaign in Viva Amplify. So I'm gonna go here. And as you can see, I pinned Viva Amplify on the left-hand side, but you can also find it right there, right? So if I go to Viva Amplify, in my case, I will see the campaigns. Let's say that we want to roll out Viva Amplify to, we want to roll out like Viva Connections to our users or Copilot. So let's say that we want to do something similar to this. We want to roll out Copilot to a specific organization. Users, they're not aware of what Copilot is. They need like, we need to have the change leadership team or the adoption and change management team help in that manner. So the change management team, they will need to start sending emails. They will need to start pushing Teams messages, creating SharePoint pages, have this content to introduce users to Microsoft Copilot. So we're going to start a new campaign. I'm just going to start a campaign, and I'm going to name it Introducing Copilot, right? This campaign's goal is to introduce Contoso to Copilot. And I'm going to have this color. Next. Now I can have my members. like members who can actually start authoring these uh, these publications. So I'm gonna have Adel as an owner, and I'm gonna have Alex just as an editor. And let's see how we can use Viva Amplify. Creating a campaign. You might get intimidated by the UI, but it's really simple and it's really handy. And you're gonna see how. So first, it's gonna tell you plan your strategy. So basically, plan your strategy is gonna just send you to campaign brief. So invite your team. I can add more team members. It's the same as adding more team members right here, right? Now I can go to publications to create more publications, or I can use any of the templates right here. So as you can see, like the buttons on the home page, they're just like they would redirect you to different places right here. I can chat with my team, with Adel and Alex. I can chat with them in the team for the introducing Copilot. So I'm gonna have a team with the same name as my campaign, and you're gonna see it in a moment. Here's introducing Copilot, and I can have meetings. I can do everything with my team right here. If I click on settings, I can see that the name, I can change everything, and it will always be as private for the campaign itself, right? Let's go to the campaign brief or the this one. So basically here we will have objectives and key messages. So you can have bullet points right here with all your objectives. So objective one, I'm just going to copy this, two, three, and four. You can have like all your objectives. And basically why you would need these is when you start having authoring the publication itself, right? It will just give you a way to copy this. And I'll show you how. We can save this, we can save that. So far, we haven't created anything that can be sent to users. The stuff that are going to be sent to users are the publications themselves. So let's just wait for this to be saved. I think it's saved already. So I'll go to publications. So far, we don't have any. Now we want to have something that we can share with users. I'll go to new to create a new publication. And here we can decide, where do we want to share this publication to? Do we want to send it in Outlook? Do we want to send it to SharePoint or share it in Teams? And soon it's going to be in Viva Engage, right? As you can see, the publication, the UI, it's just SharePoint. So what I can do right here is I can have text, my publication goes here. I can type anything, and then let's just add an image to see how it would look like. So I'm just gonna have this image, and then one more text would go here, right? Now the distribution channels I can uncheck to see how they where I want it to be sent. So again, I'm just and here introducing Copilot. First communication. This is the first time we're gonna contact our users. If I go next, for the selected distribution channels, this is where I will be able to work on it. So I don't want to have this. I'll come to this one in a bit. I'll go to SharePoint. So we authored the publication the first time, but maybe in SharePoint, I want to tweak it a little bit. So maybe I want to add more text, etc. So I can click on customize, and I can add more stuff to the SharePoint publication. And I like to type SharePoint that way. Now, if I go to Teams, this is how my Teams message would look like. And I can have up to 5 Teams channels to share it to. So in the design team, in the project team, Market 8, I can share it here. I can share it in the retail team. I can share it in the sales and marketing, etc. And I can also customize my message. Or maybe I want to have it as an announcement. Introducing Copilot. right? Now I'm gonna save and close, and let's open this. Let's go back, and I'm gonna go back to my campaign, copy this. I'm just gonna open it as Adele right here. Right? So Adele is part of that team. I'll go to publications. And I'm gonna see what I was working on, right? So let's open this one. And I can see all the channels that I can post it to. So let's go next. Should show me the Outlook. I have an issue in my browser, it seems. Yeah, I have an issue. Let me just verify. Okay, refresh. Okay, let me just try again. Next. Yeah, seems like I have some issues in cookies and stuff. But basically, the Outlook message would appear right here, and we would be able to set like whom do you want to send it to, and you can even make it as send as. So, for example, a requirement that organizations might ask you for is how can we push out notifications somewhere here and there on behalf of someone else? Like we want to create this news in SharePoint, we want to create this page in SharePoint, we want to send it out somewhere in an email or something, and but we want to do it as someone else. So you can actually, in the UI that would be here, you can say, I want to send it on behalf of info@cyclotron.com, for example, and you would be able to do it. Now, yeah, the editor is not there, so I'm just going to skip this one. Now, in SharePoint sites, I can pick which SharePoint sites I want to send this to, right? So we can choose 10 SharePoint sites that we can share it to, and then we can publish our communications. Now, it's not gonna let me do it for the Outlook because we didn't have any. So I'm just gonna uncheck Outlook for now. All right. Now we can go and publish. If there is an error, so in Teams, add your name as the sender in Teams. So I cannot send it on behalf of the system admin. So in this case, I'm signed in as Adel. I'll need to do it as Adel right here. Right? Save, and then we can publish it. So now publish, and we can review. So we can see that it's going to be pushed into 3 SharePoint pages. It's going to be pushed to 3 channels. If we have Outlook as well, but because it wasn't working for me, we're going to see like which emails or distribution lists it will be sent to. And once we publish, we're going to see the progress, whom it's going to be sent to, etc., etc. So here, we're going to be able to see what's going on. So just by having one place to author our message, we're able to push it to different distribution channels. And what's nice about it is if we can switch here, let me show you something. So I'll show you here in the Viva Connections launch. So in the Viva Connections launch, I can see all my publications, right? And here, let's say I wanna go to the reporting. So as you see right here, this communication that I sent, this one, initial communications, Viva Connection rollout, it was viewed in Outlook twice. It was viewed in SharePoint twice as well. and in Teams twice. As you can see in Outlook, it was promoted twice. That means two people actually forwarded the message to someone else. I can see the reactions as well. So how many people reacted to it? In Teams, I can see how many people commented. So I can see the full report right here. If I go, I can go into a detailed report. So you can see the positive reactions in the Outlook email. So in my email, I can see who actually reacted to that communication itself, right? If I go to Outlook, let's go and check Outlook right here. Uh, I'm just trying to find mm, this has been published. Let's just check this one just to show you what would have been shared to users. So as you can see right here, I'll show you something. Here, you can see that the actual message itself would be sent in Outlook as is, with the image, with the header, same as with Microsoft Teams. If you go to Microsoft Teams, you would be able to find that publication shared in Teams as is as well. So it's like taking that SharePoint page and put it inside of Outlook. A requirement that I saw by a company, they were like, how would we know that how many people actually read our communication or read it, like fully read our communication? Like they were expecting that you would click on that message in Outlook to go to a page, but you actually don't need to click anything because you're going to get the actual communication, the whole page, everything, you're going to get it in Outlook. And here I can just react on that message. So maybe if I put it as sad, smiley, sad emoji right here, it will be reported in Viva Amplify as negative reaction, right? If I forward it to someone else, it will be reported there as another um, reaction. Let's get quickly to Viva Topics. I just want to show you what Viva Topics would do for you. So if I go to, let's go to SharePoint here. I'll go to SharePoint and just show you the experience of what it might look like. So let's say that I want to search for Mark 50. So I have this project in my environment, Mark 50. If I don't have Viva Topics, I will see the results just like that. But because I have this engine in the backend, this AI in the backend that goes around my organization, picks all the possible nouns that can make an actual topic, Viva Topics created a topic for me. And because I have a license for Viva Topics, when I search, it will display in the search results, it will display this card. I can see the topic name itself. I can see synonyms or alternate names. I can see a description and people that I can ask more about this topic, resources, and related topics. See how smart the AI is? It said that it could get this description from this document. So let's first go to this topic page itself, and let's open this document, this Word document. And as you can see, if I just search for this text, if I search for this text within this document, Viva Topics was able to parse this document along with tons of other documents. So here, see how many documents are in this page, are in like related to this document. Viva Topics was smart enough to go to that particular document, extract this description, and make it as the description for this topic. And it gave me suggested people, it gave me suggested pages and suggested sites and other related topics that might be related to this one. And it's just a SharePoint page in the backend, stored in a site called the Topic Center. So what Viva Topics would do for you is it's going to give you, it's going to have this site, which is the Topic Center, and the AI will start suggesting all of these topics for us. I can check each one, and then I can decide to confirm or not, confirm or not. And under each topic that we have, we're going to find the suggested people. So it's really good for organizations that have tons and tons of data, and they don't know how to get this information out to users. And if I go back to the landing, if I go back to the home page, rather than having a wiki site or like a wiki area in your organization where you can store content and then tell people, hey, go to this wiki center in order to learn about all of these topics, you can actually get topics to users. So as you saw, like when I search, I got that topic card for me. I can also have these topic cards inside SharePoint pages. All you need to do is when you edit, you can just hashtag and search for that topic itself. So here in a textbook part in SharePoint, you just wait. So in a topic card, what I can do is if I type hash, see suggested topics. Now I can type A and then find all the topics that have A in the name, right? And then I can say check this out, then publish. Now users, when they go to this page, they will start seeing these topics. All you need to do is just assign them licenses and make sure that they have the access to, like there's a setting in the admin center that would enable you to do just that. So here in the admin center, if I go to settings, org settings, you will see for Viva topics, you will need to give users access as readers at least. So topic visibility, everyone in my organization, right? So they would be able to see these cards right here on the page. So as you see, like with Viva, it differs. With Viva Connections, it's a mix of Teams and SharePoint, and you use it within Microsoft Teams or frontline workers. With Viva Amplify, for example, it was just like this page in the browser that you access to do your campaigns, etc. With Viva Topics, it's in the backend, an engine that runs, automatically create pages, store them in the backend for you. Then you would be able to see these pages, these cards inside your site. It's also like supported in Outlook. I can send a message in Outlook, hashtag, and then users, when they receive it, they will be able to hover. Or, for example, in Microsoft Teams, it's still being rolled out. So in Microsoft Teams, you can hashtag a message, um, a topic, send it in Microsoft Teams, and users will be able to hover on that. You can even have it inside of Office documents. So, for example, in the Finder in Microsoft Word, for example, you would be able to have Viva Topics cards. So just like different ways that you can use Microsoft Viva, but it's a big, big, big like topic with different components. But just like maybe covering these three would give you like a flavor of how Viva can be utilized within your organization and in different flavors, as I mentioned, like from Teams to a backend service to a web app like the Viva Amplify. So just for the sake of time and for the next speaker to start preparation, let me know if you have any questions. Send them to me in the chat, and yeah, I'll be here for a while. So um, I hope this was helpful and an eye opener for you into Microsoft Viva. All right. Thank you for joining. I'll be here for questions. Hang out for a bit. Yeah. Thanks everyone for attending.